What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Tasha checking in with another video, and this is going to be none other than my recap of the Diddy trial, day one and day two. If it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video, comment in the comment section, and most importantly, subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. We have a good, great time over here. Okay. So, y'all, we about to get into the first 2 days of the trial. Now, I told y'all I was going to, let me fix my tripod real quick. I told y'all I was going to cover this trial once it got started, and it got started. Okay. Um, they are actually on day number 4. However, I am a little behind. I have my daughter is graduating this weekend, and so I'm going to be out of town. Hold on, let me fix my little friend. I'm going to be out of town this weekend, and so I wanted to come out and give y'all the recap of the trial. Hold on, y'all. Okay, y'all. Sorry. I'm trying to clip this thing on my shirt so that hopefully y'all can hear me, and it's going to be good. All right, y'all. So let's get started. Because I gotta get this out the way. Like I told y'all, I'm going out of town this weekend. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. Okay. So let's get into the trial. All right, y'all. Day one, let's start. So if y'all been living under a rock and y'all don't know what's going on, Sean P. Diddy Combs, okay, is on trial for sex trafficking and racketeering. And when I found out he got arrested and his homes got raided and all this stuff happened and they locked him up, I said, I'm going to definitely have to come out when this trial starts. Now, because this is a federal case, they don't allow cameras into the courtrooms. So the people that are reporting on this trial, they were allowing the press to come in, but they were not allowing them to have their cell phones or cameras. So they had to go back in time and use a good old pad and a pen in order to document what was going forward and what was happening, right? And so we got a lot of juice, and so I'm gonna get into it. I got my information from Sidebar, which is if you look it up on YouTube, you will find it. There was a reporter there that was inside the courtroom, and they gave all the information on the trial. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into some details because we get into some crazy stuff with this case. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now let's go ahead and get started. All right, y'all. So this was day number 1, and I'm gonna start with that. So day number 1 was opening statements. Okay, and we had 2 witnesses that testified. So if I look to the side, I am looking at my notes because it was a lot that was given, and it was a lot of things that was going on, and we're gonna get into that. Okay, so May 12th is when the jury was finalized, and we heard opening statements and witness testimonies. All right. So, like I said before, the federal courts don't allow cameras and things inside, so we cannot get the whole visual of it like we did with the O.J. Simpson trial. Now, I was trying to figure out, well, why the heck can't we have that? Wasn't the O.J. Simpson trial a federal case as well? However, they didn't allow that. So we had to go based off reporters going back to the pen and pad. Okay. Now, this information that I'm gathering is from Sidebar, and it was reported by Elizabeth Milner. So I want to give props where props is due. All right. So the reporters went in early on the first day. They were going in 6 to 7 at a time. They did not allow them to flood the courtroom. They wanted to keep some type of order. Okay. It was a lot of people out there. A lot of people was trying to get in to get
good seats so they can take their notes and everything like that. One person that showed up with the reporters was Rodney Little Rod Jones. Now, if y'all don't know who that is a former producer of Diddy, and he actually filed a claim against Diddy for sexual harassment. And y'all remember he was trying to sue him and everything of that nature. And I believe that he might have settled with him. I'm not sure. I can't remember because that was a part of when the kind of Diddy thing first happened when Cassie stuff came out. And so his was kind of brushed under the rug a little bit, but I don't think he has fully closed out his settlement with Diddy. Okay. So he showed up at 7:30 in the morning to go inside of the courtroom with the reporters. I thought that was kind of odd. I was like, what are you doing here, sir? Like, why do you want to be having front row seats to this case? But I guess he had a right to, because he does have a lawsuit or case out against Diddy himself. Okay. Um, Okay, so he was there. He was with his attorney and he was with his entourage. Okay, who was in the courtroom? And I'll break it down based off of what was going on in the courtroom. And give you a play by play. Okay, who was in the courtroom? So Diddy comes in, y'all, in the courtroom. He is wearing a gray sweater, a white undershirt, gray slacks. They went and mentioned that he was reading the Bible. Now, I hope after all of this that Diddy does find Christ. I really do. But we don't know if he was doing it as being like upfront and genuine about it, or if he was just doing it to gain some type of sympathy from the jury. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I think, I don't know. I don't know, because when you get down to it and you really get in trouble, a lot of people tend to run to Christ. So they say he was reading the Bible. I don't know if Diddy, is having to come to Jesus moment or what's happening, but he might have been just using it to gain some sympathy. Okay. Who else was in the courtroom? Little Rod was there. Cassie's lawyer was there. His kids were there. His sons Justin, and his other son Christian. Also his adopted son, which is Albie Shore's son. And I always wondered why Albie Shore's son rides so hard for Diddy. I'm not saying that just because that's not his biological father that he can't show up for the man, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I was Albie Shore, he's still living, I would just be like, dude, I'm your father. Luke, I'm your father. Right? Okay, so they were all in the room. Diddy's mom was there. Diddy's baby mom of his youngest child, Love, was there. Of course, Love wasn't there because she is so young. So of course they wouldn't bring her to something like this. Kim Porter's best friend was there. And also Lisa Bloom, there was rumors that she was in the courtroom. So it was a list of people that was in the courtroom that we would know of. Okay. So the defense, right? They are painting the picture and saying that they are painting a picture and they're saying that several black people from the jury was dismissed and they are displeased with it. However, we come to find out the reason why these people were dismissed. It was not because of their skin color. These people actually had issues that made them be dismissed from the jury. Now, some of their issues was they had a fan base for Diddy. One person went to high school with him. One of them had a criminal background. One of them had a language barrier. It was a lot of other things that happened. So the defense was trying to paint the picture that the jury, they were being painted as being harsh to the jury of black individuals. But you can't run with that, sir, because a lot of those people got dismissed for their own reasoning. Okay, so they narrowed it down to 8 men on the jury, 4 women, and 2 alternates. Okay, so the opening statements began. The prosecution goes first. The prosecution is going first, and her name is Emily Johnson. All right. Um, Emily Johnson paints the picture. What's up, Kendall? Welcome to the live. Emily Johnson paints the picture that Diddy, and she's with the prosecution. She is saying that Diddy has pulled the wall over people's eyes. He made people think that he was this businessman, this really, philanthropist, all type of things. Not saying he hasn't done business and done some philanthropy. However, the defense is saying, I'm sorry, the prosecution is saying that he had y'all fooled because he's actually a criminal, right? Um, they said that he had violence against Cassie. They brought that up. They also said that his inner circle made him feel like he was invincible. This is all the prosecution's opening statement. They said that Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. I took notes too. I don't know why my page is stuck. They went through and said that two Jane Does would come forward as well as Cassie to prove that he was just this criminal mastermind individual. And Emily Johnson, she didn't give no fluff, she didn't give no flair to it. She was just reading straight from her paper, probably notes that she had wrote down for her opening statement. Okay. Um, Cassie will be victim number one. She will be brought up, and I'm going to get into later her testimony. The jury was very attentive. They were listening. They were taking notes. Mia is someone that's also going to be called up on the stand. She worked for Diddy, and she said that she was sexually assaulted. That he was sexually assault her while she was working for him. Okay, so they're trying to paint this picture that is not what it looks like. He was not what it seems. He was not a businessman, a music man, or anything like that. Let me take this off because I tried to clip this on my shirt, y'all, but it ain't working. So they were painting a picture that Diddy was more than meets the eye, basically. Okay. So we get to the defense, which is Terry Cargabo. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Please forgive me, Miss Terry. Okay. Terry goes and opens up and says that Diddy is a complicated man. And I immediately thought about Shaft. I was like, so is he Shaft now? He's a complicated man and no one understands him but his woman. Like, really? So his lawyer goes and says he's a complicated man, right? And he said for the next 2 months they would tell Diddy's story. Okay. Um, he says that the government has no place in a man's bedroom. They said that he can be mean at sometimes, but it's only because of the alcohol, and that's not a crime when you get drunk being mean. Okay. Um, he said that of course he had the drugs, he had baby oil. So the defense was admitting to some of Diddy's wrongs, right? They're like, we're not excusing the fact that he may have got drunk and been mean and had some drugs and baby oil, but it was just a rock star lifestyle. Like, he was in the industry. That doesn't mean that he's guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering, right? Okay. So they also go and say that the women were adults making these choices, right? Um, we're going to pause right there. So, yes, the women are adults. They are making these choices, right? And no, but the thing is that when you're saying that, most oftentimes people will say, well, nobody put a gun to your head, nobody drugged you, nobody made you do XYZ. But in this particular situation, they were adults going to probably a celebrity party. They were thinking, oh girl, we're gonna go and have a couple of drinks. Or a guy was thinking, I'm gonna go meet some celebrities. I'm trying to get into the industry. No one's going into a party of a celebrity thinking that they're going to get drugged, drunk, that something's going to happen to them, right? And so the defense was trying to paint that picture, and I was like, defense, people was probably going to this party thinking they was just going to a celebrity party, right? But if you knew Diddy's background, you would kind of know that he's one of those people that likes to party, and his parties can get wild. Now, I grew up listening to Bad Boy. I grew up knowing about Diddy, but I had no idea, right, about his parties and how wild they would get. So if I didn't know and I was in that arena, I might have been a person that got caught up at one of the parties thinking that it was just a party and then it turned into something else, right? Okay, moving on. The defense also said that these women were jealous of Diddy. They were gaining gifts from him. And so that's why they're trying to bring him down. So he's saying that, if they couldn't be with him or saw him with other women or whatever the case was, they was jealous of the man. Okay. They said he brought up the fact that Cassie was with another man when she met Diddy. He also claims that she was having financial trouble when she ended up filing her lawsuit against Diddy. And the defense is going with the theme of love, jealousy, and money. That's all it comes down to. Okay. So that was the defense, their opening statement. The defense, which shocked me, like I said, owned some of what Diddy had done. And I didn't expect them to come out and say, yeah, he has some baby oil, some drugs, some alcohol. But they was like, he was partying like a rock star. It didn't mean he actually did no crimes, right? Something they also brought up was that he was not paying sex workers. Okay, y'all have heard escorts were in the mix, that they were trying to paint the picture that he was having people there. They said that Diddy wasn't paying escorts. He was paying them though for their experience and their time. And I was thinking to myself, sir, Experience and time is meaning that you want their experience in what they do for a living and you want their time to perform what they do for a living. But the defense is saying he paid for the experience and time, not the sex. Okay. Now we get to the witnesses. That was their opening statements for prosecution and defense. I will say that the defense, in my opinion, had a more compelling argument. And we shall see what the jury thinks. Okay. Witnesses. First witness, hotel video with Diddy and Cassie. Y'all know that came up first on the docket. And the first witness was an officer that responded to said altercation, and his name was Israel Flores. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. Israel Flores, in my opinion, dropped the ball in this situation. I don't know if he was fanning out when he saw Diddy because he said he recognized exactly who Diddy was. He did not know who Cassie was, but he dropped the ball, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Okay, so first of all, he said he worked at the hotel as an officer. He was in charge of reporting situations that would happen at the hotel, right? He said he got a call about a situation on the sixth floor. That's where they were at on this floor. At the time, he said he was not able to rewind or download said video because that was above his pay grade. So he said that was the job of like the security supervisor or whatever it was called, right? Okay, so he said that he wasn't able to do it then, but now at the title he has now, he is able to do that. He said, like I said, he said he recognized Diddy. He did not recognize Cassie. Okay. He said he saw Diddy in a towel and socks. Now, we all saw this video. He said he saw Diddy in a towel and socks. He said when he saw him, he had a devilish stare on his face, and Cassie looked like she was visibly shaken and visibly afraid. He also said that it was a mess in the hallway. He let Diddy know that it would be charged to his room as if he cares because Diddy has money. He didn't care if he broke up the whole hotel, sixth floor, the room or whatever, because he had money to pay for it, right? So that didn't really flinch him. Okay. He says that he told both of them, Cassie and Diddy, and this is what tripped me out. Officer Flores told both of them to go back into their rooms and to not create a disturbance that would disturb the other guests. Now I'm thinking to myself, somebody just called an officer for a domestic dispute, and you want to tell the person that is involved in the domestic dispute with the person that has caused the domestic dispute, the receiver and the recipient, to go back into the room together. That to me was very weird, and I could not understand why he would even say that to them. Okay. He says when he saw the room, inside the room, there was another man fully clothed in the room, sitting on the bed, right? He said that seemed weird, but whatever. He's probably seen weirder things, right? He says that Diddy came up to him. This is what Officer Flores said. Diddy came up to him and said to him, if you don't mention this, I'll give you this. Diddy pulled out, he said, a wad of money. It was wrapped in 100s, 50s, 20s, all types of stuff. It was a bunch of money. He said Diddy pulled it out and offered it to him, and he said he didn't take it. Now, I think Officer Flores is full of the BS. Y'all raise y'all head if y'all think that Officer Flores did not take the money that Diddy offered him. I believe that man took that money. You cannot tell me that a celebrity that you're fanning out over, because you can't tell me nothing different, right? He offers you some money to keep stuff on the hush, and it's a bunch of money, probably more than what you may be making 6 months or a year, and you didn't take it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But anyway, that's what he said. So he says that the officer didn't call the police because Cassie said she just wanted to leave. So that's why he didn't call the police. I would like to really know though. I was wanting for the prosecution to ask for the protocol and when you have a domestic dispute call. I don't know why they didn't ask him that, because I would like to know that, because you cannot tell me that this was protocol based off of what this officer did for this hotel. Okay. He also said he took a video with his phone of the incident, kind of. I don't know how that came into play. And it didn't have no sound, but he says in the phone he was kind of just making comical jokes about how Diddy was dressed and things like that. But that situation wasn't a laughing matter. It was a domestic dispute situation. Um, He says that when he wrote the report, he did not have to go into every detail. So the prosecution asked him, why didn't you list this, this, and this in your report? He says that he didn't have to go into every single detail that happened at the hotel. I thought that was weird. I didn't believe that either. Okay. But that was it for that witness. I thought that Israel Flores was full of crap. If anything, he actually damaged Diddy in this case, calling him to the stand. And really, he damaged himself because he did not act in a way that I would think that an officer would act when someone is reporting a domestic violence situation. I don't care who you are. So let's move on to witness number two, because they only had two witnesses on day number one. His name is Daniel Phillip. Okay. So Daniel Phillip came in the courtroom with shades on, right? He's this very buff, muscular man, black guy, right? And so we find out that Daniel Phillips is a male dancer. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he said that he received money in 2012 from Cassie for him to have sex with her. Okay. Um, this is and it gets wild. This is about to get wild. So he said he got a phone call from his boss from his dancing services or escort services that he did. So he got a phone call from his boss, and he said he wants you to go. A person want him to come to the Grand Mercy Park Hotel, which is in New York City. Okay. So when he arrives at the hotel, he said he arrived that night. Cassie opened the door. She was wearing lingerie. She was wearing a red wig and some glasses, some sunshades, okay? Had some heels on, the whole nine, okay? He said a man was in the room and she said, that's not my husband. Now, she gave him thousands of dollars as soon as he got there, okay? Now, this man that's testifying is Daniel Phillips. He's the second witness that's testifying. So he said while he was in the room and they was about to get started, another man appeared, okay, in the room. He was covered up. He had a mask on. He had bandana on. He obviously did not want to be seen. Later on, he finds out that when the man started speaking, he realized that the voice was Diddy's. Now, y'all, I when he said that on the stand, I said, now, Cap, I said, Cap, Mr. Daniel, I think you're capping. Because at the end of the day, how could you know that that was Diddy's voice? Like, you didn't recognize him and see him because he was covered up. But he says once he started speaking, he realized that was Diddy's voice. I said, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Okay. Um, he said he and Cassie had sex. Diddy sat in a corner and watched while pleasuring himself. Okay. Daniel says he wasn't wearing protection. And once they start getting into these details, Diddy's daughters got up and they left the courtroom. And I could imagine so because I don't want to hear my dad's sexual escapades either. So I guess Diddy's daughters, his twin daughters, felt that it was just too much going on in this moment. And so they left the courtroom for a minute. Okay. Daniel also goes and says that Cassie would message him and ask for the D pics. Y'all know what that means, okay? When he would get to the hotel, he said, because this happened on two separate occasions where they paid him to come to different hotels. But when he got to the hotel, he would have to say, I want to the room for Mr. Black. So Diddy never would say, Sean Combs is here, right? He would go under disguise and say Mr. Black, of course. And most of these celebrities probably do when they stay at hotels, okay? So he gets to the hotel. He says that when he got to the second encounter, he would notice he was in one room, Diddy and Cassie was in another room. He would hear Diddy abusing Cassie in another room. Okay. He said that during their sexual escapades, Diddy would give instructions on what he wanted to happen. Okay. Cassie, and this is wild. Now, some of the stuff I'm giving y'all is kind of wild, okay? Because you just don't know how freaky people are until you actually get involved with hearing some of the stuff, okay? So Cassie said that she peed on Daniel, and that's what Diddy wanted. And so when Diddy saw that Cassie was peeing on Daniel, then he would pleasure himself to that, okay? Daniel thought that he was afraid at the second encounter because Diddy took his license and made a photocopy of it or took a screenshot of it or whatever he did. So Daniel said he was in fear for his life at that point because Diddy had his information. So he just cooperated and did what he wanted. Okay. So the defense gets up and they want to attack the witness's credibility, okay, to put some stank on what he just said. So in the courtroom, right, Diddy demeanor was he was paying attention to what was going on, very alert, right? But he leaned in more when Daniel started to speak and took the stand. Okay, so that was day number one. All right, so if y'all following so far with day number one, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the Redefine Me channel as we move into day number two. And this is only the first 2 days of trial that I'm giving y'all today. We are at day number 4 in trial. I'm a little behind, but I will be coming out. Possibly, I'm going out of town tomorrow this weekend, so I'm probably going to come out maybe on Friday nights. I may be on location at a hotel, and I'm going to give y'all day 3 and 4. Okay, possibly tomorrow night. Don't hold me to it, but I'm gonna get day 3 and 4 out before this weekend goes out. All right, day number 2. So day number 2, Daniel Phillips is going to I'm sorry, Daniel Phillips, the exotic dancer that had the sex with Cassie and all of that. He's being cross-examined on this day by Xavier Donaldson. Okay, so Xavier Donaldson is the defense. So he questions, why did he notice Diddy in the corner? Now, I don't know why that was a question that needed to be asked, but he thought that it was interesting. Like, why did you notice Diddy in the corner, right? He asked him also, did Cassie take the lead? Was Cassie on drugs? Was she drinking? Was she coherent? And Daniel, the exotic dancer, answers, no, Cassie was none of that. Okay. Um, the defense says that Cassie knew what was happening, knew what was going on, knew about these freak offs and sexual encounters. Okay. After they questioned Daniel, it was crazy because Daniel came in the courtroom and he had sunshades on, and then he took them off when he was being questioned. And when the questioning was over, he put them back on and he left the courtroom. Okay. Daniel spoke about Cassie in a very friendly or romantic way. So we find out day number 2 that Daniel took a liking to Cassie. He liked her. He began to feel like romantically drawn towards her. He did not like the way that Diddy was treating her. And he also felt the way when her and Diddy ended up having sexual intercourse. Okay. Um, he says that Cassie gave him oral and she rubbed baby oil on him. Okay. There was a lot of baby oil going on. Okay, there was a lot of baby oil. People making jokes about it, but it was a lot of baby oil going on that we find out. So Daniel says that he would hear Diddy beat and call Cassie out of her name, call her the B word, beat her and everything. And he said because of that, that did not make him sexually excited at that point. And he just, he didn't like it. Okay. He said because he grew this infatuation for her and everything like that. So after the questioning, that was it for him. He put back on his shades, he left. All right. Witness number 2 on day number 2, and that is going to be none other than Cassie Ventura. She takes the stand, right? She walks in the courtroom. She has on this brown dress. She's really pregnant. Okay, y'all know Cassie is expecting a baby. She's actually in her 3rd trimester, which is interesting for this case because the 3rd trimester is very sensitive time. You can have the baby. You're going to have the baby in that trimester. You want to be calm and all of that. And for her to be pushed into testifying in this high profiling case to recount things that is happening, I don't know why she made the decision to do that, but I mean, I guess her account is valid in prosecuting him. Okay. So Cassie gets on the stand. Emily Johnson, the prosecutor, is going to go forward and address her. Okay. Cassie was focused. She was straightforward. She was keeping her eye on her husband. Her mom was in the courtroom. Her brother was in the courtroom. And of course, her lawyer was in the courtroom. Okay. 2018 was the last time that she was in a room with Diddy. And that time was when they were having Kim Porter's memorial. So she hadn't seen Diddy in a long, long time, wasn't in the same room with him for a long time. Okay. At this time, Cassie is 38 years old. When she met Diddy, she met him back in 2005. She was 19 years old. She was signed to Bad Boy Records in 2006 and for a 10 album deal. Now, we all know that Cassie only put out one album. And this is what makes me feel like that that he used that to manipulate and control this young girl. He liked what he saw, and he felt like, if I sign her to a 10 album deal, but I only work with her on one album, I could paint the picture that you are indebted to me because you never put out 10 albums. And so now you have to do what I want, behave how I want. Now, if the prosecutor wanted to lean in on that, then that's the way I would go. Okay. So she only put out the one album. Y'all know she had the 10 album deal. That did not happen. Okay. Fast forward, Cassie gives us a recount that on her 21st birthday, Diddy kissed her for the first time, right? And she said she was shocked. She said at that time she was young, she was naive. She even ran out the bathroom after Diddy had kissed her because she's 21 and she don't know. Now, 21 is young, but it ain't that young. It depends on where you grew up, how you were raised, things of that nature. Like I became a mother at 21, even though that was young, right? But I wasn't so naive to what was going on with, like sex and all of that, And she made it seem like this she was this young, naive, dumb girl. And maybe she was, because maybe she was sheltered by her parents. It depends on how she was raised. I don't know. But she says that it shocked her because she just wanted to be involved with Diddy on the music spectrum. She didn't want to look at him romantically, right? And so she said she ran out the bathroom after Diddy kissed her and she wasn't expecting that. Okay. She says that Diddy called all the shots in her career, which is wild because Cassie only put out one album and she didn't have much of a music career. But we have seen Diddy, work with several artists over the years. And the fact that he couldn't manage to get her out of one album is wild to me, which also makes me think that he just wanted to use her for what he wanted to use her for. She said that she was introduced to oral with Diddy while visiting him at a Trump hotel. So Diddy invited her to Trump hotel, one of them hotels he was staying at, probably in New York. And she said that that's how she was introduced to oral. Now I don't know if she ever did it before. I'm thinking she didn't because she said she was introduced to it. So my thing is this with Diddy, he was trying to introduce things to her gradually. Like it started with the kiss, and if she didn't freak out or not want or discommunicate herself with him over that, he introduced something else and then something else. And before you know it, she's involved in these full-on freak offs with Diddy and all these other sex workers and escorts and all this other stuff. Okay. Um, the notes is she had sex and was drugged. Okay, so the first time they had sex, they were on a boat, okay, in Miami. And that's the first time he introduced her to what was it? To ecstasy. Okay, so the first, I told y'all he likes to ease in things with her. So the first time they had sex, it was on a boat in Miami. He introduced her to ecstasy. She said it made her feel free and all of this stuff like that because she's never, encountered it before. Okay, she says after the boat incident, she fell in love with Diddy. She said that was her first adult relationship. And she thought that they were monogamous because they was always together. They were together so much so that she would call herself his shadow. Right. So if you're thinking about it on this term, because I know a lot of people gave Cassie some flack because they was just like, she knew what was going on. She was in it for the money, da da da. That is true. After a while, she did understand what he was about. But initially, when she first got with Diddy, this is like this young girl that falls head over heels in love with this powerful man that got money. It's an age-old story, right? But then you begin to see and understand the underlying issues of said man, right? Y'all go ahead and smash that like button. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be covering this case. We're on day number 4 of the Diddy trial. I'm giving you all day number 1 and 2. We are right now on day number 2, the Cassie we're documenting Cassie's testimony. I don't know why I drew a blank. Cassie's testimony. Okay. So she fell in love with him, right? After the boat incident, fell in love with him. Okay. His staff. Now, after she fell in love with him and everything, it began to get weird. His staff would find her wherever she was at, would track her down. When he wanted to be with her, they would go seek out Cassie and find her. He was physically abusive to her. He was psychologically abusive to her. He told her what to wear, what to dress, how to work out, what to eat, how to wear her hair, what to do, all of this stuff. Was telling her all of it. And she was doing it. And most people may say, well, why the heck would you do it? If you didn't want to do it, just leave the situation. However, if you think about it, his staff is tracking her down, every move, everywhere she going. I've even heard one time that she was on the set of doing some type of movie or something. Now, I ain't seen Cassie in too many movies, so I don't know how true this is. But that Diddy actually tracked her down on the set of the movie, showed up, and acted kind of weird. So I can believe that that happened. Now we get on into the freak offs. Now, hold on to your seats. Hold on to your seats. If y'all want to hear about these freak offs, hit the like button. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Don't worry, I'll give y'all a second because I need a water break because these freak offs is about to get ridiculous. What's up, Kelly? Welcome to the live. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the like. Hit it up. Hit it up. Hit it up. Hit the like button. We about to get into the freak offs and what happened with that. All right, y'all. Freak offs. Here we go. So with these freak offs, all right. So the freak offs would make up Diddy being prosecuted under the racketeering charges and the sex trafficking charges. Okay. Thank y'all for the likes. Keep them coming, y'all. All right. So Cassie let us know for the freak offs that she had to prepare for these freak offs. It wasn't like she just went in a room and it was people there and whatever she had on that day, that's what or however she looked that day, that's how it was. No, Diddy was so detailed in how he wanted her to look, and probably not only her, the other women and stuff too. Like he directed the whole situation. He wanted them, it was almost like a movie because she said they would have several different takes and sessions and things like that within one freak off, right? And so she had to have her nails a certain way. Her nails had to be painted white. He wanted them to for that to happen. She had to be waxed. Her hair had to be a certain way. She could not be over a certain weight. I mean, it's really in detail with what he wanted for these particular freak offs. She then tells us that they will have 3 or 4 sessions in one. Okay, so imagine you having a sexual encounter with your partner, your spouse, and you say somebody says cut, almost like a porno, and then you go into moving a certain way or putting on something else or acting something else out while he's standing there watching, all for his particular pleasure. Okay. She says that he introduced the freak offs to her 6 months to a year into their relationship. The freak offs happened, her first one, when she was 22 years old. Okay. So still very young, very naive still. But I feel like at this point, he started to unveil some things about himself that she could have kind of said, I don't want to deal with this. But however, once he had her in his clutches, he was probably not trying to let her go that easily. Okay. Um, she also lets us know that they have freak offs everywhere. So if we're thinking that it just happened in maybe his LA home or maybe his New York home, no. She said these freak offs happen LA, New York, what's the other places? Atlanta, Turks and Caicos, everywhere that they went, these freak offs ensued. And when you think about it, he had to it was like a production because he had to enlist the sex workers he wanted, the escorts he wanted. He had to have the baby oils. He had to have all of these things. Okay. Um, she said that she would be on ecstasy pills. She said he directed the freak offs. He would put mask on his face. He would have them wear masks. They would have he would have her rub the guys down in baby oil. She said that the escorts were paid thousands upon thousands of dollars. And she said she had to get high to participate in these freak offs because they were really just wild. And if you think about it, thousands upon thousands of dollars to be freaked out. Like I don't even want to know how much money this man actually spent in these freaky productions, okay, that he could have probably put up for his children or donated to a worthy cause or something. But when your mind is evil and you got evil in your heart, you're not thinking about that, right? Okay, so she also let us know that the freak offs would occur weekly. She said she didn't get much sleep, but the drugs that she was on helped her stay awake. And she also said that the freak offs would not end until Diddy decided that it was over. So so you were sitting in the corner watching the people. They probably exhausted because I'm gonna be totally honest. When you're having sex, And we all adults in here, and so I hope. So I ain't covering nothing up, no cold words or nothing. I'm hoping YouTube don't flag the channel. But when you are in a sexual encounter, that's a tiring situation. How can you go and have sessions in one sexual experience? Like, I don't know. That's a little rough. Okay. What else did she say? Okay. She said, and this is crazy to me, that the only good thing about the freak offs was the fact that she got to spend time with Diddy. But how are you spending time with him when you are freaking off with other people and Diddy's not even, I mean, he participated in some of them, but a lot of them he was directing the whole situation. So I don't see how she's saying that the only good thing about it was spending time with him. That was kind of weird to me, but that's what she said. Um this next part, she says that Diddy would send her emails. He sent her actually an email back in 2010, and it was to Cassie, and he called himself Papa. Now that's what she called her grandfather. Now I thought this was sick, okay, but he sent the email and it said from Papa to baby girl. That's what he called her. Weird to me. And he said he wanted to, F and have sex and all this other stuff in this email. My thing is, why the email? Like, why didn't you just text her or something? I don't know, or call her and say, meet me at the house or whatever, what's going down type thing. But that's what he did. Incriminated himself even further. I'm just like, some of these celebrities, if you're going to do some crap, be smart about it, right? She says Cassie also lets us know that the last freak off was in 2017. That's the last one that she was a part of. She said that she will wear stripper heels, she will wear a mask, she will wear wigs, and she only took off these disguises. Now, Diddy would have on disguises as well, and they only revealed themselves to an escort that they felt comfortable with, somebody that they felt that would not say anything, somebody that they felt would keep their secret on the hush hush and all of that, right? Okay. I already told y'all the freak offs happen in various places: Atlanta, New York, LA, Turks and Caicos, wherever they were at. Okay. The baby oil. She lets us know that 10 bottles of baby oil would be used during one session, one freak off session. Tim, first of all, y'all know baby oil. I could get a bottle of baby oil right now and it would last me for 5 years. How the heck is 10 bottles being used in one freak off session? That is a lot of oil. That's a lot of slipping and sliding going on. And I ain't trying to make light of the situation, but I'm a goofy person at heart. I get serious when it does count. I'm telling y'all. But that's a lot. 10 bottles? What are y'all doing? Freaking off, right? Okay. She says when they ran out of the items that they needed, the staff will go out and get them. And that's why I feel like it turns into racketeering. It's a criminal enterprise because he could not very well himself order all these bottles, prepare the rooms, clean up the rooms, hire the people, all this stuff. So he's the mastermind, of course, the director, the orchestrator. But when they go and get these celebrities for said crimes, they need to also look into other people that were willing participants as well in these crimes. But he's the one on the chopping block, okay? Um, she also says that there were also candles, always candles in the room. She said the freak offs room were very warm, and I could only imagine because a candle draws heat, and now you got all this oil up in here, and now it's warm up in here. Like, and I don't know if the warmth was because of the drugs that was in the baby oil, and so maybe the heat activated the drugs even more. I'm not sure, but I could not even. Oh my god. So she gets into even more detail where she says that, there would be blood and urine sometimes in the sheets. And I apologize. What's going on, Crook? I apologize if this is graphic for some people, but she said that would be in the sheets. Okay. She said that he would even make her participate in freak offs, y'all, when she was on her cycle. And for y'all who do not know that, when she was on her woman time of the month, he would still make her participate in freak offs. How disgusting. And women know what I mean. How messed up is that? Because at that time of the month, we don't want to be dealt with in that way because we already dealing with emotions and our stomach hurts and we just cramping and all type of stuff. Don't nobody want to deal with that, okay? But that's just how nasty he was, okay? She also said that they would
Hold on, y'all. Okay. The escorts would pee on her and it would turn Diddy on. Okay. Um, has she called any names? Who was it? She hasn't called any names yet, but this is only me covering day number 2 of the trial. I'm pretty sure some names are probably going to be dropped. I'm pretty sure. I bet everybody that ever went to one of his parties is sitting on the edge of their seats, like, oh my God, I hope they don't call my name. But this case is going to be going on for 2 months. And so I'm gonna be covering it every single step of the way. So if you ain't subscribed to the channel, subscribe so y'all can get all the juicy details and make sure you like the video up. Okay. So she also says that after all the freak off sessions were over, he would have staff that would come in and clean up the freak offs. Could you imagine being one of the people that had to clean up after the freak offs? I would be like, this is disgusting. I would be like, what did they do in here? Like, I just, it, them people that had to clean up after that need to write a tell-all book. After this trial is over and he is locked up, which I'm pretty sure he's gonna spend some time. Yeah, if I was one of them people clean up them room, I would write a tell-all book, child, and get it out there. Because I'm pretty sure that people want to know now. Now I know that the tell-all book will probably be graphic, and some people don't want to read about something like that. But that would be quite interesting to know. What that was about. Okay. We also find when she's doing her testimony, which was surprising, the jury did not get any form of emotion. They weren't swayed in any way. They were not like, or nothing. It's almost like they were expecting for this to happen. And I was just like, what kind of jury is this? Have y'all participated in freak offs? Like, what's going on? Because I mean, I would have even made a face like, I wear my feelings on my face all the time. So if she was detailing stuff like this, I'd be like, ugh, he did that? Why? My face would have just been telling everything. Okay. But I guess when you're a juror, you have to wear the poker face. She goes on to let us know. Okay, so that's with the freak off. So now we get into the video, the infamous hotel video. So Cassie was asked about the video, of course, in the hotel. Okay, she said in the video that she was trying to leave a freak off. So a freak off had just ensued. So all we saw from a video was her running out in the hallway with her bags, and then Diddy coming out not too long after that, and then abusing her. Right? She says that in that moment she was trying to leave a freak off. Okay. She said before she exited the room, Diddy had hit her and gave her a black eye. So the abuse has started within the room. So once we saw the video footage of the hotel, she had waited till he got distracted and she picked up her bag and everything. And then she ran up out the room. Right. Okay. Of course, when he found out she was gone, then that's when we see him run out of his towel, the socks, hit her and things like that. Okay. Um, she said that this situation at the hotel was one of many physical altercations that they had got in, many abuses that he had did to her. She said when y'all saw her on the ground, she stayed on the ground because it was the safest place to be for her. Um, so she's going to be on the stand until Thursday. So today is Thursday. They're also going to still be questioning Cassie up until next Thursday. So she has a long way to go. And this woman is in her third trimester of pregnancy. So I'm hoping that this whole recounting does not bring her any unnecessary stress, because there was moments in the courtroom where she was emotional. She did tear up a little bit recalling some of the things, because if you think about it, she is recalling all of this nasty stuff that she was involved in with Diddy in front of her husband, in front of her mother, in front of her brother, and in front of other people in the courtroom. So that, for anybody would make them feel like, oh my God, I have to detail everything that I did. I feel so ashamed, right? But yeah, that was it for her testimony for day number 2 with Cassie. And that was the ending of day number 2 and all that I had to report to you all for right now. So this case is really going to have some really interesting moments and points in it. The person that I dislike the most outside of everything that Diddy has done has been the first person on day 1 that they questioned, which was
was Israel Flores, which was the officer that, just did not operate in the way that he should have. He basically turned a blind eye to abuse that was going on. A lot of the defense, I'm sorry, the prosecution was actually asking him also, and I left this out, like he says that he put Diddy up against a wall or whatever, when he got the call. And so I don't believe him. Why didn't you call the police? This woman visibly is shaken up. He's visibly with this devilish stare that you said that he had. You're an officer that's supposed to keep the safety in the hotel. So if you knew that an incident just happened, why didn't you call the police and have the man arrested? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Somebody called telemarketers, just ridiculous. But anyway, y'all, yes. Um, so Flores, I want to know what his issue is. Why did he call the police? I believe that Flores fangirled out when he saw Diddy because he said he recognized him. Like I also said, Diddy offered him money and he says that he didn't take it. I don't believe that. He offered him, somebody's offering you a wad of money to keep silent. And I'm pretty sure he probably offered him enough money that covered like 6 months of his paycheck, maybe even more. And he says that he didn't take it. And you didn't call the police. Like his whole testimony was just off for me. So he's the person out of this first 2 days of trial that I dislike the most out of it because I'm just like, sir, this Diddy could have probably been prosecuted way quicker if you would have operated in a certain protocol as to when you're responding to a domestic abuse situation. But anyway, y'all, that is what I have for y'all. Those are the first 2 days of the trial, of the Diddy trial. Y'all go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. I am going to be coming out with day 3 and 4. I'm going out of town this weekend. However, I'm going to find a way. Even if I got to get to the hotel where I'm staying at, even if I have to go downstairs and record a video for y'all, I'm going to bring y'all day 3 and 4 of the trial. So every single day the trial is going forward. They're going to have it daily unless something happens. Now I don't know if they're going to have it on the weekend. They may take a break on the weekend, right? So they may not have anything going on Saturday and Sunday, and then they may pick back up on Monday. However, I'm going to be covering every single step of the way. So if you are not subscribed, subscribe to the channel so you can get all of the juice that I have for y'all. And I take notes, okay? I'm just like the reporters in the courtroom. I take my notes. Thank you so much, new follower, new follower. Welcome to the Redefine Me family. Thank you, thank you. Also on this channel, I do show reviews. The only show I'm doing right now, though, is Love After Lockup. If you are a fan of Love After Lockup, I will, like I said, I'm out of town this weekend. However, on Sunday, I will be on location and I will review this week's episode of Love After Lockup, which comes on Friday on WeTV at 8 p.m. So if you want to watch it and kiki with me, we have a good time on those live shows as well. Okay. I also do Motivational Mondays on this channel. Every Monday, I give you all a message of motivation. I do a plethora of things. So get on my channel, watch some things. Let me know what y'all think. Thank you so much. I'm going to DC. My daughter is graduating from college. She is getting her associate's degree and she's about to go into her 4 year. And so me and my husband are going up to DC and we're going to go celebrate her. We're going to go hang out with my family. I am from Washington, DC. So yeah, cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so proud of her. So I'm going to be doing that this weekend. And yes, you are so welcome, Crooks. Thank you so much for being here. And so I'm going to get off of here, y'all. I'm so tired. And I work at night. So I got to go to work at 10 p.m. I have not even packed my clothes yet. And we are leaving tomorrow. And so I think I'm going to go to work for a little bit and then I'm going to leave early from work, come home and pack my clothes because my husband, no, he's driving first because we're driving. I like driving, especially because I like clothes and shoes and stuff like that. So I get to pack extra heavy and I ain't got to pay no bag fee. So, I'm going to do that. But Yeah, I got a lot. I got a lot going on, but I'm gonna be here for y'all. I'm here for y'all. So, welcome to all my new subscribers. Last thing I want to say, I love y'all so much. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, Say Travels. Thank you so much. We are close to 1,000 subscribers. So, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We are so super close. Share this video. Go ahead and watch some of my other videos. Comment in the comment sections. Let's get the algorithm going so I can be pushed out into them YouTube streets, get the watch hours up. And I thank y'all so much. You know, I love YouTube. I love doing this. I love pouring into people. I love having thought-provoking conversations. I love having lighthearted kikis. I love inspirational things. I love even showing y'all some food things that I do. Like, this is a lifestyle channel. I just love, because life is, you're supposed to love, laugh, and live. All that other stuff and being so serious and weighed down with the pressures of the world, that's too much. You know, that's too much. So I feel like with my channel, when you come on my channel, it should be one of them woo-saw moments where you can say, okay, let me get some juice, or what's the tea, or what's the kiki or the laugh, or what's this or what's that. So my channel is kind of like a break from all of the stuff that's going on. Even though I cover some of the stuff that goes on, I try not to get too heavy all the time on my channel. And that's why it's a lifestyle channel, because I break it up so you all can get that woo-saw relief. Okay. Love, laugh, and live. Yes, that is what my banner says on my channel. So y'all check out my channel. Let me know what y'all think. Leave some comments, and I am going to definitely talk to you all on Sunday. Okay. I love it. Thank you so much. You like it here? I'm so glad you like it here. Thank you all so much for joining me. Until we meet again, I love y'all. Bye.